Hello and welcome to another Harsh Noise Gear review. We are here with the Arturia Drumbrute, an analog drum machine from Arturia that has a whole bunch of instruments, a built-in sequencer, a bunch of cool tricks and effects you can do with it. It also, worth mentioning, has individual instrument outputs in 1/8 inch that you can pull out and run through any sorts of effects. Very cool. I also have a little book here because my table is uneven, so that's why that's there. But first I want to go through the sounds of this thing, and then I'll get into the sequencer and some of the other effects, and then I'd like to get into some fun noise and experimental tips and tricks that you can do with this thing, and then I'd like to build a Cybergrunge power electronics track together. So first, let's hear what it sounds like. Those are the bass instruments. You have a few alternate instruments here, so the rims, the claves, the toms and the congas, the cymbal and the reverse cymbal, and the maraca and the tambourine. So those are all the instruments. That's what they all sound like. I think the Arturia Drumbrute default sounds are fine. They're good. They're basic. They sound like good techno sounds. I think they sound super boring by themselves, and they don't work that well for noise music. Now, does noise music have beats? Depends on who you talk to. Depends on the subgenre of noise. Is it death industrial? Is it power electronics? Is there beats in it? Who fucking cares? Is it enjoyable? Whatever. You can make arrhythmic stuff with this thing, and I'll show you how. But it also obviously spits out rhythms, because it's a drum machine. But it's still really good for a lot of types of noise and experimental music. So I'm going to go over that, but I think the sounds sound kind of weak, so I like throwing it through distortion, at the very least. But we're going to try it out with EQ, distortion from the Rat, and more distortion from the death metal, just to get some sounds going a little harsher than that. I like giving it a little bit of bass boost in the EQ. Let me actually play a pattern here. And you can hear the more gain I add, it changes the sounds and distorts them. But let's hear what it sounds like with the Rat. And then with the DoD death metal. I think I like it with the Rat the most. As far if I'm just going to use like a single pedal with this thing to get the tone I want out of it. I think the Rat sounds really good through this drum machine. So what's cool with these individual instrument outs is like you can run multiple instruments like if you wanted just something on the bass, right? Like if you wanted just something on the kick. Where are we? Right, so you want that like that, but then you want your fucking kick. Where is it? This one. So I just took the instrument out from the kick. This is the kick right here. I'm going to run that through distortion in channel 2. So now just the kick is dirty with the rat, ran out by itself, and all the rest of the instruments are coming out here clean, or through a little bit of EQ. So I can have the dirty ass kick. Clean kick, and like the rest of it's like relatively clean with like highs on that. I don't know, it's fun. I usually, however, just run the whole thing out through a rat is often what I do. And that's how I'm going to conduct the rest of this video for the most part. Is just, oh god, there's a mess of cableness now, isn't it? Okay, so we have our drum machine set back up, and we got our sound set back up. So let's dive into the Drumbrute itself and some of the features of this thing. Let's start by making a beat. There's two ways to enter into the sequencer, which is up here, either by recording with an instrument or by plugging in the sequence yourself. Oh, well, we had maracas selected, so I guess let me just shift some maracas around. Let's put a kick in. You can also put in by recording. So those are the two ways to input. You can plug it in by poking at the sequencer, turning things on and off. You can also plug stuff in. You can also put stuff in by recording. Yeah, pretty simple. There's a few fun tricks and stuff you can do. I'm not going to go over all the features of this thing because there are a lot of other more professional videos about the Drumbrute and all the neat little all the features. I'm not going to go over every single feature of this thing because this is a Harsh Noise Gear review and I want to touch on a few different things. What is cool is the like this strip here. This like effect strip, you can have it loop. Well, so when you're playing, it's a performance strip. When you're programming a sequence, it's a like trill kind of. So like Yeah, you could hear that. I was increasing the like trill on it, but when you're playing live, it's a performance thing that loops the steps. Yeah, and I can get like some cool effects out of that myself just by like fucking around with this basic beat. Here's where you can do a little noisier stuff with increased tempo. You can do like oh yeah, it's got filters up here. Yeah, loads of fun, all sorts of stuff you can do. There's also polyrhythms in this thing, which is something else that I'd love to point out. Like, let's take a look at our hats. Let's undo our hats real quick. So we have our beat. I'm gonna also get rid of the maracas. So we can do polyrhythm. Check this out. We're going to enter polyrhythm mode on this beat. Then we are going to put the hats on like a 7. So check it. All the other patterns go to 16. Hats repeats at 7. So let's program in So we got a polyrhythm going right now because everything else is in 16 steps, but the hat is playing only on a 7th step, but it's keeping its own time, which is really cool because you can do complex. Like, let's take a look at our rims track. Let's decrease this. Let's do something basic with our rims like that, and then decrease the last step to here. Super cool. Lots of fun to be had with polyrhythms. Because this one's still going out of 7, the rest are going out of 16, and the rims are going out of 10. So it can do really cool stuff as far as experimental music. Like you could make entirely polyrhythmic sounds. I like keeping at least one driving thing in 4/4 going through in my music, at least. I think that's fun. But polyrhythms are cool because you can set a few polyrhythms and then it sounds like the beat is changing up a lot more than like you're not as hands-on, but it's being changed up a lot. Yeah, super cool. What I'd like to do now is show you a stupid glitch that you can do with a shaker box. Now, this is something stupid, and I'm plugging in my EQ into my clock in, right? Then the EQ is just going to get high gain. Then I'm setting it to clock in, so whatever I plug into this is now the clock in speed for, it'll set the tempo and it'll play the next beat. I'm going to use the ANGELTONGE shaker box, which is a copper sheet with a contact mic inside filled with scrap metal. I make these, I sell them on my Etsy. You can find the link in the description. They can be used for all sorts of noise things. This is a stupid trick that you can do with a drum machine. Look, see, it's very sensitive because I've plugged it in through high gain, but it's totally glitching out and going all over the place. Yeah, it needs that high gain. It needs the high gain to imitate the clock clipping sound. Yeah, lots of goofy stuff you could do with clocking in. You can also do something similar clocking out with the maracas that I'm not gonna show because I don't feel like hooking up another big synth to this. But the way it would work is you would run a clock out signal, right? You'd run a clock out signal from the maracas into a clock in. And then whenever you use the maracas, because the maracas sound the most like a clock click, that sounds the most like a click to analog signals, I've discovered, that the maracas can be used to trigger other things with CV. So if you're like, oh, what CV stuff can I do with this actually other than instrument outs? You can use the maracas to trigger stuff, which is super stupid, but that's how analog signal works, baby. It also has a clock in, clock out, MIDI in, MIDI out, blah, 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 USB for doing whatever. But that's the fun stuff that I've discovered, is using the maracas as a CV controller for other stuff, and also using a shaker to do the clock in on this to trigger the next note. But we're going to do something now. We're going to write a song together, a power electronic song with some Cybergrunge stuff going on, and we're going to see how that goes. So let me set up. So we have a Cybergrunge synthesizer from Sele Official. I'll put the link in the comments to her Etsy. Favorite it. Keep an eye out for when she posts new stuff. This is a Cybergrunge device that it's a sequencer, and I can have the tempo, but there is no clock in or out. I'm gonna have to tap in. So let's get a rhythm going. Let's tap it in. We'll see how that sounds. Let's make a beat. Pretty close. Pretty close. It's kind of off rhythm now, but alright, let's get some vocals going. What do y'all think? Let's try something a little different. I think that is enough of that. Uh, Hopefully this showed you some things about the Drumbrute, what it sounds like, what it can do, how it's useful for experimental music and noise. Um, yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Let me know if you have a drum machine, what your experience with drum machines and noise is. I have a lot of fun with this one. But yeah, comment what you think. Don't forget to like and also subscribe.